Greetings to each and everyone this evening. Bless the Lord. This evening we have a subject, indwelling sin. Indwelling sin. To nature. What is it you're speaking about, Brother Giff? I may not be able to explain from the beginning, but as far as I can see from the scriptures, sin is like a disease. Some diseases are outside our body, and some diseases are inside our body. The one that I'm talking about this evening is indwelling sin. I want to tell you something. And when I tell you it, I want you to judge you as I have judged myself. And I looked at the Apostle Paul, and he himself had judged himself. You know, a lot of us are carrying around sin in us. We may be here for 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. But some of us are carrying around indwelling sin. It never leaves our body. We were baptized. We do all the right things, or supposed to. But still, there are some sins that we are carrying around with us. And it shows up sooner or later. We have not taken the time or the time off to work on this piece of nature that is in us. Let me give you a little testimony from an old elder. He was a fisherman, and he gave up fishing because of this. When he goes out to the ocean with the men who he fished with, he realized that something or a past habit or sin comes up on him in the ocean. He was a preacher, a very good preacher. When he is in shore, everything is okay. But once he get out to the ocean, this habit comes up and overcome him. And he was years in the church, and he told me the secret. He said, Brother Giff, I was a little boy, but he liked me very much. I stopped go to sea because as soon as the men in the boat light up their cigarettes, I have to say, give me one. Indwelling habits. Indwelling habits is carried around in our body. Let me say to you, if you are accustomed working witchcraft and you come and you get baptized and everything is okay, if you did not look at this witchcraft habit, sooner or later, when you think it's gone, it's there. This is another testimony from another elder. He practiced it when he was in the world. He came into the church, and many years afterwards, he found himself back into witchcraft. Some people practice homosexual behavior when they were in the world. Many years in church, think it's gone because they have never put it to the cross or work on it personally. They found themselves back into these habits, inward sin, two nature. We're going to deal with the two nature in a little while. So you have two nature carrying about in your body. Why do you say all of these things, Brother Gift? Because I see it here in the scriptures. I love the Apostle Paul. I like to study about with him because he's an experienced man and he tells you like it is. This evening, I want myself and I want you to look at your inner body. You see, many times, like myself and Sister Gift, every 3 months we go for a regular checkup to see how the body is functioning. And the doctor would say this or that or the other, so we know the function of the physical body. But many of us does not know the function of our spiritual body and even our physical body which carry around sin. We don't check on these things. We don't check on our habits. We don't check on our behavior. And this is what this lesson is all about tonight. That a man, that a woman have to look deep into himself. Let me give you an experience. One of my favorite pastors, his name is Pastor War from Jamaica. He came to my house and spent some time with me. And one morning, as I leave my bedroom, crossing his bedroom, going to the bathroom, he was about 87, 86. hardly could have walked. And I heard he was praying a certain time of prayer. And I stood up and I listened to prayer. And he was asking God to calm his nature. He was asking God to take control of his nature, his sexual nature. So I went, I showered, and we all came out for breakfast. And this is a man you could speak to as an elder. I said, Pastor Walk, what kind of prayer was that? And he have a healthy laugh. And he said, Brother Giff, were you listening to my prayer? And we take a laugh at it again. I said, yes. So he said, don't you believe I still have nature? So he was asking Almighty God to make sure he have that under control. So sometimes we have to go back, not only sexual, lots of habits is in our body that not yet is in control, or we or the Holy Spirit is in control of these habits. And these habits could make us lose eternal life. So we want to go into the scripture, indwelling sin. And we want to see how the Apostle Paul speak about indwelling sin. We want to see how he used his own body, his own self. You see, most of us have secrets. Let's see if the Apostle Paul had. We're going to turn to Romans chapter 7 and verse 7. And Sister Gift, I'm not going to rush. I'm going to take my time, because we are dwelling in the inner body. And that means we have to think, we have to meditate, we have to go inside. That's what I want you to do this evening. You have to go inside, take notes on your own self or your own inner body. What is there? Let's go.
Romans chapter 7, verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin?
Mm-hmm.
God forbid.
Mm-hmm.
Nay, I had not known sin but by the law.
Mm-hmm.
For I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet.
Oh, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Reveal your words. Open it unto us. Lead us. We need your words, Lord. We're going to start over.
Romans chapter 7, verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin?
Praise the Lord. Question is asked. Is the law sin? is the 10 Commandments, is all the laws that is written there sin? I guess someone was interfering with Paul, or Paul was interfering with himself. What did he say? Is the law sin? Go ahead.
God forbid. Nay,
No, the law could never be sin. It is holy, it is just, and it is good. Let's go down a little bit.
nay, I had not known sin
Watch this well. Go ahead.
but by the law. For I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet.
Let me just say something. If you are going down a road and it's 4 roads and there is no stop sign, you would not know to stop. You would run past it. There's no stop sign, there's no light that telling you to stop. So let's go over. Nay. Go ahead.
Nay, I had not known sin but by the law.
Amen. So if there's no law, there's no sin. But now there is a law saying thou shalt not. There's how sin comes in. So whilst there is a stop sign saying stop, that's what the law says. So now the question is asked in verse 7. Let's read it again. I'm going to take my time. Go ahead. What?
Romans chapter 7, verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin?
Question is asked. Is the 10 Commandments sin? Is those things that is written in our heart that was moved from the table of stone and written in our heart sin? Let's see what the Bible said.
God forbid.
No, it's not sin. It is holy, it is just, and it's good. Let's go.
Nay, I had not known sin but by the law.
The law came, written on our heart, and that's how we know that if we interfere with it, we breaks the rule or the law. Sin comes. Go ahead.
For I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not covet.
Straightforward. If there is no law said you shouldn't lust, there is nothing like lust. Nothing. But there is a law saying that you must not lust. So that means there is something in our body or somewhere about that is called lust. And you have to pay attention for this, like the stoplight. You have to pay attention not to run it, because now there is a law saying thou shalt not covet or lust. You and I have to pay attention. Let's just jump to Psalms. We're going to take our time. Psalms 19 and verse 8 to see what it said about that. Psalms 19 and verse 8.
Psalms chapter 19, verse 8. The statutes of the Lord are right,
Watch at it. Watch at it. Go ahead.
rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes.
Oh, hallelujah. Read that again for me.
Psalms chapter 19, verse 8.
Listen to it.
The statutes of the Lord are right,
Nice.
rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes.
So it's there. And it's enlightened the eyes. So let's go back to verse 7. Read in Romans.
Romans chapter 7, verse 7. What shall we say then? Is the law sin?
It enlightened the eyes. Go ahead.
God forbid. Nay, I had not known sin, but by the law. For I had not known lust, except the law had said, thou shalt not
But let's say in the Psalms here now, the same thing that enlightened the eyes. You interfere with it. You break it. That means the lights are off. Let me give you one more piece of scripture. Romans 4:15. You may ask yourself, where am I going with this, Brother Gift? But take your time with me. 4:15.
Romans chapter 4, verse 15. Because the law worketh wrath, for where no law is, there is no transgression.
What does that mean? The law worketh wrath. You see, when you interfere with it, when you break it, even up to today, it works wrath. In the days of Moses, you're dead. Today, you have to beg for forgiveness. You fall, or I fall, you fall. You interfere with something that you was not supposed to interfere with. I interfere with something that I was not supposed to interfere with. So let's read it again.
Romans chapter 4, verse 15. Because the law worketh wrath.
That's what happened. It was good. If you did not interfere with it, it cannot work wrath. But from the time you trouble it, today it still work wrath. You weren't dead now. But if you keep on breaking it, you're going to pay, or I'm going to pay the penalty. Go ahead, Sister Gift, that same verse.
Because the law worketh wrath. For where no law is, there is no transgression.
No stoplight, no breaking of the stoplight. Our friends on the other side say it's abolished, it's no good. But I don't want to deal with them this evening. I'm dealing with us. You break it, there's a penalty. The penalty of death with Moses is gone. But still today there is a penalty. You commit adultery, your wife gonna leave you, your husband gonna leave you. You tell a lie to your wife, she's gonna call you a liar. Oh, hallelujah! So there is penalty. Read that again for me, Sister Gift.
Romans chapter 4, verse 15. Because the law worketh wrath. For where no law is, there is no transgression.
Good. Let's hold that verse. We're going to take verse 8. Inward sin, to nature. Why there is this law? Romans 7, verse 8.
Romans chapter 7, verse 8. But sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence.
So Paul, the apostle, start going into himself. He start looking at him. I want me to look at me this evening. I want you to look at you. What is happening in our body? Paul is looking into himself. I am looking into me. What is happening in here? We're going to read that again.
Romans chapter 7, verse 8. But sin, taking occasion by the commandment.
Occasion, it means something is taking a moment to attack me. Occasion. Sin is looking, he is in there. He is in our body. And he is looking at our behavior and knowing when to attack. So occasion, he's taking that occasion or that moment to attack through the commandment. So let's get that clear. Occasion, it's a moment of attack, a moment of opportunity. He's not working by guess because he's run by someone else. He is run by a demonic spirit. And that demonic spirit know that, listen, we are carrying something that not supposed to be in us. And he's taking the chance when it is necessary to attack us. Opportunity. Go ahead, Sister Gav, read.
But sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence.
That concupiscence is for something that is forbidden. It means something that is not forbidden to do. So here is sin hiding in our body, taking the occasion to attack when it is necessary and to do things that you're not supposed to do, forbidden. And all because it is there. Let's say a man like to drink. Let's say a man is a homosexualist. Let's say a man come from the religion that he used to bow down to images. And all of this come from our past. All of this, what I call here, a man that like to work witchcraft. He comes in, he forget about it. But he didn't deal with it properly. So it's still hidden and it's called sin. But I call it habits. It's hidden somewhere in our body. Let's read that verse again. Verse 8.
Romans chapter 7, verse 8. But sin, taking occasion by the commandment.
Remember what I say is occasion. Moment of attacking. So sin is going to attack us whilst we have it in our body sometime or the other, whilst we carry it around. Whilst we are carrying it around, it's going to find time. Right place. It's going to find time. Read it again for me, Sister Gift. Take your time.
Romans chapter 7, verse 8. But sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence.
Habits, forbidden habits, or something that is forbidden. It takes occasion, all manner of habits. Go ahead, Sister Gift.
For without the law, sin was dead.
Oh, hallelujah. So look what happening here now. This is the inner man we're talking about here. So I have to take my time. As I said before, you go to the doctor and you know your health. You know your blood pressure. You know your sugar level. You know everything about yourself. You know what to eat. You know what to drink. But here is it, you have two things in you. You have the commandment of God in you, written in you. But there is something else hiding in you called habits or sin. So it take occasion, if that commandment was not in you, and you sin, no problem. But sin knows that you tell Jesus that I ain't going to do those things that I used to do before. So the commandments is in you. The same thing that they say is done away with. The same thing that they say no good. No problem. I'm not dealing with that this evening. But I'm dealing with me and you. Sin take occasion by the commandment because there is the commandment in you one side, in your spirit, in your soul, but sin is hidden somewhere about in the flesh. And he is going to attack you or me in some moments that is necessary. I tell you this story already. And I'm going to tell you this to bring out what I'm saying. I like to talk about myself. I prefer to talk about me than somebody else. Myself and my brothers had a business meeting, about 4 or 5 of us, because we had a business together. And one of my brothers said something in that meeting that wasn't true about me. And it really annoyed me. And I was in the church already maybe 20 years. And when he said what he said, brethren, something come out of my mouth that I can't say it online. Up to now, I'm looking in my body where that word was hidden. I couldn't believe after 25 or 20 years, that word, I always talk about it because I don't want sin to shock me. I look all over myself to see after that if anything else is hidden. My brothers know me. They respected me. The meeting was silent. Even the brother that accuses or say things that he shouldn't have said about me, when he heard the word that came from my mouth, didn't say another word. The place become dead silent. But the thing I'm asking myself up to now, that happened maybe another 15 years ago, 10 years ago or more. Where did that word come from? Let's read this verse again to see. You judge yourself. Maybe that happened to me that I should judge myself because I used to carry on like that before. I used to use obscene. Let's read this verse again.
Romans chapter 7, verse 8.
Take your time, Sister Give.
But sin, taking occasion by the commandment.
Stop. He know that the commandment is there, but he's there too. If there's no commandment, there's no sin. But sin know that, listen, we shouldn't do certain things. So he attacked me. That's what occasion means. To attack, moments of attack. So I am saying to me, and I'm saying to you, before there is moments of attack, you search yourself, I search myself. Make sure that there is nothing there that can surprise us. I'm saying most of the time, if a man come from a witchcraft church family, when God can help, when he think that God can help, it's very easy, if you think that God can help, to go back to that. It happens. It happened to an elder that I know very well. Something was happening in his life. And I'm sure he called on God. And maybe God was saying, I want to see what he's going to do. When his daughter told me that her father took her and sent her to Guyana, I wept. It was there. That obscene was there. I didn't pay attention. Let's read that again.
Romans chapter 7, verse 8. But sin.
Remember his sin. He's there. He taking occasion. He's looking out for our weaknesses. He's looking out for the right time. He's looking out for the right place. The best good to do is to get rid of him. But sin, go ahead.
But sin, taking occasion by the commandment,
He know the commandment is here. He know this is where he lives by. He knows we know what to do, what to say, what we shouldn't do. Go ahead.
wrought in me all manner of concupiscence.
Opportunity to attack. So he's waiting patiently for Brother Gift to go in that meeting after 20 years of baptism to speak foul language. He's waiting for you because he knows you have this weakness and doesn't work on it. You're going to take a drink. You're going to take a second one. You didn't work on that lust, that homosexualist lust, that witchcraft lust. You didn't pay attention to it. The opportunity, you are giving sin the opportunity. You are carrying him around a long time ago. I can remember when I just came into the church, or before I came into the church, we would go into the city and we would sit and we would watch all the nice girls. A group of us. We'll have a cigarette in our hands and a beer in the other. And we would sit there and we would change their clothes with our eyes. Now I came to Jesus, and the habit is fighting me. How could I get rid of it? I said I would never go back into the city. How could I live my life? Because lust is there. I baptize. Everything is going fine. Every other thing is going fine. But this desire is there. And I want to be a Christian. And I stopped going to the city. But then I start lusting in the village. And I said, what? I listened to the preachers. And I said, I found the trick. I said 3 days and 3 nights without food. My uncle, who was a Christian, when he heard it, he said, you're going to surely kill yourself. And I did my 3 days, and I worked on myself. And Lord God, it works. It wasn't easy. You can't carry it around. You can't fool yourself that it is not there. Paul saying it is there. Let's read that again.
Romans chapter 7, verse 8. But sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence. For without the law, sin was dead.
You see, because of the law, we know that it's there. And because of the law, read that again for me, sorry.
For without the law, sin was dead.
Yes, sin was dead. You see, I used to do it all the time. You used to do it all the time. And you didn't know it was there. Like last week, I had someone who was working for me. And he was on the phone with his friend. And Lord God, you hear the conversation. It made me sick to my soul. And I went to him. I said, get that guy off the phone. And I speak loud that the guy could hear. But they don't know. Because they don't know what they're doing. But I know because my soul is clean. Without the law, sin is dead. They don't know. They don't have a feeling. It can happen to you in the church. You can be carrying him around and you don't know because he's dead there waiting to come alive, waiting to interfere with the law. It can be your thoughts. And that is one of our greatest failure, not controlling our thoughts. Read that again for me.
For without the law, sin was dead.
Yes. He ain't show up until the commandment came. It's necessary. He's the one that gonna show us the the commandments are the one gonna show us that we are carrying him around. And Paul not talking about the man in the world. He's talking about himself. You go into your closet, into your church, to see if the church is carrying something. I'm not talking about a physical wood and stone. I'm talking about this. The body, the soul. What are we carrying inside there? What is hidden? Oh, hallelujah. Man, judge yourself. When we go down, brethren, I want you to be here to the end of this lesson. It's going to teach us a lot. When we go down a little, maybe 2 to 3 weeks, you're going to see the Apostle Paul say, oh, wretched man that I was. First Corinthians 15:56. Let's see what Paul said here in 1 Corinthians 15:56.
1 Corinthians.
Before you read that verse again for me that we can remember what we just read. 8.
Romans chapter 7, verse 8. But sin, taking occasion by the commandment, wrought in me all manner of concupiscence. For without the law, sin was dead.
It wasn't there. Go ahead.
1 Corinthians.
1 Corinthians 15:56.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 56. The sting of death is sin. And the strength of sin is the law.
You see what the strength of sin? The law. Where's he there? And he is there in our body. we're going to know that we sin. But remember again, some of them are hiding and wait for the right time. Some said, if he's young, I will wait until he's old. It happened to David's son Solomon. When Solomon was of a good age, man, he was a womanizer. And he take women from all different countries. He set up idols for those women. All of that was hidden here, waiting for the right time. Read that again for me.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 56. The sting of death is sin.
The sting is the center of anything. He is the center of death. Sin. Go ahead.
And the strength of sin is the law.
You see who make him ashamed? You see who shine the light upon him? The law, the 10 commandments. Shine the light upon sin. And all of this is happening within us. You see, church doesn't teach this. It's not when it comes outside. Sometimes we break it on the inside by our thoughts. It doesn't sometimes not even come to words, much less the deeds. We are thirsty for it on the inside. That sting, that feeling, it's there on the inside. Never worked on. Hiding in there. Suppressing. We suppress it. Habits. Some people just like, I know a man, he just like to talk about people. Never stop talking about people. He make you sick. Never curb habits. So let's read that again.
1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 56. The sting of death is sin.
Remember, you're going to die. Remember, I am going to die when I sin. If I ain't dead physically, I'm going to die spiritually. And the first thing going to happen, we are going to start decaying spiritually. Remember, I was telling you about the elder who sent his daughter to Guyana. Takes time to die until he reached that stage. He took that thought and he worked on the thought. Should I not? Should I not? Until he started gathering that money. Make his mind up. It starts from deep down inside of us. Know your body. Know your soul. Know your thoughts. How can you control it before it reaches to this? Before you go out there to have a sex with another woman that is not your wife. To go out there to have a sex with a girl without married. It doesn't just happen just so, brethren. Yes, he attacks you. But because you have that feeling and carrying it with you, let's go to Romans 5 and verse 12. Let's see what Paul said here. 5 verse 12.
Romans chapter 5, verse 12. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world, and death by sin, and so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned.
Look at what happened here. Look how sin is like. One man sinning. One man sin. And sin is like a cancer. It seems like you pass it through. What word to use? What word to use? Like it come through your appendix. Look at Adam. He made 2 sons. He didn't inject them. But one was miserable that he killed his own brother. One man. Look where sin is today. Even Jesus dead now. And he is hiding still in us. Some of us can't get control of it. We're going to study this. And if you be with me in this study, by the time we finish, we are going to identify the habits that we call sin in us. And we are going to eradicate. This subject is going to bring you up to date with yourself. Last night, Pastor Murray preached a sermon about the race. Some people are not running. They're just one place going. They're not moving. Read that scripture again for me, Sister Gift.
Romans chapter 5, verse 12. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world.
The world, one man. Look how this fella is dangerous. Adam, go ahead.
And death by sin.
Look what happened. People start dying because of sin. They start dying spiritually. Some people are not living spiritually. Some people are in the church, but they're dead. They're not making any movements, looking like if they're alive, but dead people because of sin. Go ahead, Sister Gift.
And so death passed upon all men.
Look what happened. It's just running through our veins. Look what could happen. Death passed on all men. Their family, they start working witchcraft 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago. And up to today, their children still working witchcraft. Their family, the husband never stay with his wife 2,000 years ago. And up to today, his grandchildren can't stop commit adultery. It's running through the vein, the genome. And we are not taking care of it. I tell you about my lust. I had what's to take care of it. Never put my lips on another woman. because I take care of it. Read that for me, Sister Gift. Where are we?
Romans chapter 5, verse 12. Wherefore, as by one man sin entered into the world,
Mm-hmm.
and death by sin.
Mm-hmm.
And so death passed upon all men, for that all have sinned.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. I think I'm going to give you one more. Romans. Let's go back to Romans 9, and then we're going to close off. I want you to be with me in this study. Romans 7 and verse 9.
Romans chapter 7.
Listen there, Apostle. We could go back to 8 and read on to 9.
Romans chapter 7, verse 8 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
But sin, verse 8, but sin, taking occasion by the commandment,
Mm-hmm.
wrought in me.
You see what it is? It's in our body. It's in our body. Go ahead.
Wrought in me
Mm-hmm.
all manner of concupiscence. For without the law, sin was dead.
Remember, the law is inside of here too. Go ahead.
Verse 9. For I...
Listen to Apostle Paul. Listen to him good. Listen to him. He's speaking about himself. Go ahead.
Verse 9. For I was alive without the law once.
Stop. Read that again for me.
Romans chapter 7, verse 9. For I was alive without the law once.
What a perfect man at that moment. He was alive without the law. Sorry. Read that again for me.
For I was alive without the law once.
He didn't know the law was there. The law was not there with him, although it was there. So he was alive. It's like people in the world. You see, they're doing everything. They're happy. They're doing everything. They don't know that. They don't know the truth. Some men don't know. Listen, adultery is wrong. Some men, people even in the church don't know fornication is wrong. Some people don't. They just take it as a habit, as a sport. You couldn't tell my father that adultery is wrong. He glory in adultery. So he's alive here. He is alive. So look at Paul. Go ahead. When he was killing the believers, he think everything was right. Go ahead.
For I was alive without the law once. But when
don't let that happen to you. You are in the church now. Listen what happened now. Go ahead.
But when the commandment came,
come to all of us. It comes to all of us. It's right here with us now. Look into your body. Look into your soul. You can hear it saying, no, Brother Mitchell. No, Brother Mitchell. You could hear him saying, calling out names and saying, no, I am here. You're going to get me vexed. You're going to get me vexed. No, go ahead.
For I was alive without the law once. But when the commandment came, sin revived.
Oh my God.
And I died.
Jesus Christ. That's what happened to me. Luster. Enjoying it. A beer in my hand. Sit there undressing people with my eyes and my mind. Such a fool was I. But when the law came, I started running. I started looking for help. Habits. Look into yourself as I look into mine to see what's my folly. Read, Sister Gift.
Romans chapter 7, verse 9. For I was alive without the law once. But when the commandment came, sin revived. And I die.
I know that I'm a sinner. I know now that I am a dead man spiritually. Are you still dead? Are you alive? Do you know that the commandment came? Do you know that it is written in your heart? From the time it appeared, and we consciously know it's there, we are going to consciously know that what we are doing is not right. My God. My God. I think I'm going to continue right here. Read it again for me, Sister Gift.
Romans chapter 7, verse 9.
Take your time.
For I was alive without the law once. But when the commandment came, sin revived, and I died.
Are you alive right now? Or are you dead? We're going to continue. I'm sure that most of us are alive. That we are not meddling in sin. That we are not carrying him around.